Paper Sean presents notes borrowed from the smartest kid in class. Everything you need to ace English language arts in one big fat notebook from the brains behind Brain Quest. And now we end up here. Finally, we're here at part 3. Textual analysis and evidence. Textual analysis and evidence. Textual analysis and evidence. And now we end up with blank paper. Man, I love drawing! Alright, let me split this video into 2 parts. Textual analysis and, of course, evidence. And of course, what is textual analysis and evidence anyway? Well, let's start with textual analysis. Textual analysis is basically the studying the evidence that you have in this text and, of course, its meaning. So I'm guessing we'll just have to start with evidence first then. What is evidence? Well, evidence is facts or information that actually proves something. Also, most teachers are right about this one, kids. Wikipedia is a really bad source. But the sources of Wikipedia aren't. And so, textual analysis is technically... It basically means a close examination of the part or structure of something. In this case, it's the text. Now let's go ahead and start talking about the 2 parts of evidence. There are actually 2 kinds of evidence. Implicit and explicit. Yeah, so let's start with explicit. So, explicit evidence is proof. As I was saying, it's proof that's plainly stated in the text. It comes right out and says it. For instance, let's say your dad is upset because you didn't clean your room. He might tell you, I'm annoyed that you didn't clean your room. I'm getting pretty tired of asking you to do it. That's explicit. That is explicit evidence for you. Implicit evidence is evidence that is implied by what is stated in the text. Basically, it means you have to figure out from what is written in the text. Usually, multiple evidences are used to actually just get one implicit evidence. I mean, it's really hard sometimes to actually get implicit evidence, but implicit evidence, but explicit evidence is really easy. All you have to do is find the text. But implicit evidence is really hard too. So you're just going to have to go ahead and start off by drawing an inference, or at least learn how to draw an inference. Let's take a little how should I say this, excerpt from our book that we read recently, Don Quixote. Now, someone's using my phone right now, so I'm going to have to actually use the notebook here. Here we go. Here's Don Quixote. Let's start here. Here in the text, we have a lot of things to be talking about. Remember this. In short, this is what's being got. I'm not going to read this. You're going to have to read it yourself. So after you read all this, let's take the highlighted parts here. The blue ones shows implicit evidence. This whole paragraph here, up to here, it's explicit evidence. So let's paraphrase first. If you paraphrase, the main character decides to become a knight errant or a medieval knight who searches for adventures. He imagines himself rewarded for kings by his king's deeds, but he fixes up some old armor, and then he repairs the helmet, but it doesn't stand to a test where he clinks it with a sword and it breaks, so he adds iron to the helmet, but he doesn't test it again. That is a really bad decision, because if you don't test armor, you're basically a guy who will probably die unless you're really lucky. Sure, the iron is way better than cardboard. I mean, we all know that you can't use cardboard to fix up some old pieces of armor. And iron is probably yes, but without testing it, no. Don't put your chances to fate. And if you're putting the practices of all the things of the practice right here, not carrying any tried experiments, he passed it, adopted, yeah. That's where we get all this. Explicit evidence, if you read all this, you basically learn how everything seems to work out, and how Don Quixote is really a crazy lunatic. And he sees windmills as giants, which is a bad thing. How about you? And that's the end of this episode. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. I try to make these episodes and adaptations of educational books fun. So I really hope you guys enjoyed it, and I hope to see you guys soon in another episode of Hunter and Sean. So till next time, Schnan out. Peace. Love you guys for watching my videos.